weeks ago, I attended a school board meeting. During this school board meeting, I noticed many small decision-making groups and small decision-making going on. I noticed that not only were the group of 7 to 10 people making all the decisions for one school board system, but not all of them had an input. There was only a few. I noticed many skills that we've learned throughout this public speaking course that were demonstrated during this meeting. And I noticed how these skills came to real life. The way the groups interacted with each other was considered groupthink. Groupthink, group presentation, and nonverbal communication were 3 things that we've learned throughout this course and that were demonstrated in this meeting. To begin, all the members of the school board, specifically the president and the vice president, participated in groupthink. Groupthink is when 1 to 2 specific people pretty much control the entire meeting. They use these techniques to get everyone in the group to think the same, even if they don't want to. According to the Fortune magazine, groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people, in which the desire for harmony and uniformity in the group results in a irritation or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. Weil, 1952. In other words, people need to come to agreement, and not necessarily does this agreement a good thing. Oftentimes this agreement is dysfunctional and isn't good when the outcome comes out. I feel like this is something that shouldn't be happening within a school board meeting when they control what happens to all the schools in one city. A lot of the group members did not say a whole lot, and only a few of them said something. Throughout, the vice president and the president often shut down a lot of the ideas that the other members had, also contributing to the groupthink. Thoughts of other members weren't really considered, and this to me was shocking. If this is what happens throughout our school systems, then how do we know what's happening to these systems are the right things? Every voice should be heard. In groupthink, the groupthink concept is not what's happening. Secondly, through group presentation, the school board came together to make the meeting flow and continue throughout the meeting. Individual group effort was contributed by each member, very, very minimal during this meeting. I feel like it should have been more from each person, but the vice president and the president really controlled this meeting. Thus, all members should be aware that a small groupthink leadership styles, such as directive, participantly, and neglective. When it comes to that is quoted by Bernert, Grilliams, and Adams in 2001. A highly directive leadership deals with an authoritative figure that controls the meeting, kind of like the meeting that I participated in. A participatory leadership style deals with people when they all interact and the leader is concerned about the well-being of its people. So it asks for concerns, suggestions, guidance, anything that the people need, the leader's going to be there for them. A negligent leadership, the leader offers no leadership at all, pretty much, and doesn't really care about its people. During my experience, like I just mentioned, the authoritative leadership style was used. The vice president and president were pretty much the only people who spoke through the whole meeting. Ethical standards of communication should place an emphasis on the means of structuring to secure the end, rather upon achieving the end itself. Wallace, 1955. This was alarming to me that only 1 to 2 people spoke during this meeting, especially, like I said, it affects everyone in the city. It's not ethnically right, I believe. Lastly, nonverbal communication was one of the most important things during this meeting that I felt showed. The important aspects comes during this meeting when throughout eye contact, body language, and that is pretty much what nonverbal communication is. During the meeting, I observed not only was the speaker an authoritative figure, but he cared about his body language and his eye contact to his other members. So you could tell through nonverbal communication he cared about the situation going on. But not all of the members during this meeting were this. There was one meeting member that I witnessed who was on her phone the whole time, really didn't pay attention, and did not contribute at all to the meeting. You could tell that it did have a huge impact on the group. Eventually, the group members got really annoyed and they started to not pay attention themselves, which overall will affect the meeting in general. So I feel like that this person, because she wasn't paying attention, affected the meeting's outcome. We have 2 pairs of ears, 1 tongue, so that we have 2 pairs of ears and 1 tongue, to listen more and to talk less. Diagnosis. This chapter explains that there's many types of listening. In conclusion, the small group decision-making meeting that I attended taught me how this public speaking course has influenced the world of public speaking. It brought public speaking into an everyday life to where I could understand it. Whether it be through nonverbal communication, group learning, or group presentation that we have been taught, I learned that this is actually being used throughout the real life. The small group learning made aspects of this class come alive and showed what small group learning was. No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. Williams, 2009.